The cynics call it unnatural because it takes the sky and the grass out of humanity's most pastoral of sports. But tonight, this roofed monument to human engineering plays host to the most magical of sporting events, game number 7 of baseball's World Series. It is sudden death in a season that began 7 months and more than 170 games ago. And there's a building sense that an astounding superhuman achievement is about to be realized tonight right here under this dome. This is Twins Fever 87.
Channel 5, Minnesota's news channel, and the Minnesota Twins channel for the 1987 World Series.
His favorite non-baseball sport, pro wrestling. So you might say that with one swing, Ken Herbeck body slammed the St. Louis Cards and pinned them under a 430-foot Grand Slam home run. The hometown boys World Series fantasy come to life in the nation's only ballpark still open for business this season.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis. This is home, of course, to our guys, the Minnesota Twins, and also home and host to the most noise since launch day at Cape Canaveral.
Well, that's only appropriate since we're about to go to the moon. Actually, we're going to send the Cardinals there.
Yep.
Tonight, another 55,000 fans are going to fill the seats behind us here in the Metrodome, hoping to launch the Twins towards their first ever World Championship.
So let's check out the agenda, the schedule for tonight. Here we go. In this edition of Twins Fever 87, we'll show you a special video of the season's highlights. We'll find out what special memories fans will take home from this World Series, and we'll take a special look at the Twins' own Terminator.
Yeah, but first let's go down to the field where our own Mark Curtis is standing by to preview this game. Mark?
Thanks very much, Ruth. The entire 87 Major League Baseball season has come down to one game, just as it always does. Someone will taste the sweet wine of victory tonight, and someone will lose and have to wait until next spring training, and that's a very long wait. About an hour from now, Game 7 of the World Series. And you have to feel pretty good about the Twins' chances tonight. First of all, they're playing at home here at the Dome, a place where they've done great all season and where the Cards haven't even come close to winning. Secondly, the Twins will have their ace, Frank Viola, on the mound, while the Cards plan to counter with rookie Joe McGrain. It's interesting to note that a rookie has not won Game 7 of a World Series since 1909. So the Twins also have history on their side. They also have that big win yesterday fresh in their minds. Joining me once again tonight is a man who's gotten the nickname Open Mike in the Twins clubhouse. Mike Smithson, how did you come up with that?
Well, I got that from a competing television station when I did my little thing for a Tom Kelly show, so they started calling me Open Mike just for some good-natured ribbing.
All right, Game 7 of the World Series. You've been on this roller coaster with the team all season. How do you feel tonight going into this game, and how do the guys feel?
Well, I tell you what, you sit home all winter waiting for spring training to come around, and you think of one thing, World Series. It's in your mind from day one of spring training, and to finally to get here and appear in the spring training. I know I've been nervous all day. I've had a little knot in my stomach, and I know the rest of the guys are probably pretty excited about the whole thing.
Talk to me about the pitching matchup tonight, because it's obvious to me with Frankie out there, they're going with their best pitcher. But if Frankie doesn't do the job, we could probably see Bert Blyleven in there real quick.
Well, you're going to see the whole staff. If things go awry and something happens and he doesn't do a good job, then you're going to see anybody and everybody come out of the bullpen. Same way with the Cardinals. Whitey will use anybody and everybody because you got all winter to rest.
What about the two managers in this series? TK has quietly done the job. Whitey Herzog loves the spotlight. He loves to spout off. In fact, sometimes Whitey runs his mouth a little bit too much, because he said after Game 5, when asked about the pitcher for tonight, Game 7, there would be no Game 7.
Well, Whitey was hoping that there wouldn't be a Game 7. I think he knew that if this thing goes 7 games, then the tide sort of swings in our favor. Like you said, TK's been that way all year. He's a laid-back type manager. He lets the players play, and he lets us do our thing, and that's just a contrast between two managers.
All right, obviously you let it all hang out here in Game 7. Aside from putting a lot of runs up on the board, what do you think the Twins have to do well here tonight?
Well, once again, you got to keep those speedsters off the bases. Frank does a good job of holding runners on, but I think, once again, if we score a couple runs early and get this crowd rocking, I believe the Cardinals are going to fold.
Okay, you heard it here from Open Mike. throw it back upstairs to Stan and Ruth and have more in just a bit.
All right, I think that crowd's going to rock even before the first pitch is
They got them going right now. They got the recordings of Paul Simon booming out there right now. The crowd is starting to build, and they even applauded the Twins as they finished batting practice out here. And Herbeck stuck about 3 of them into the stands here. That sounds good. Dave Dahl is with a lot of Minnesota Twins fans on the outside of things here tonight. David?
Yeah, they're starting to build up out here, and as we said earlier, they could care less what the weather's like. But I've got 3 unique people here. Okay. Now, what are your names? What's your name?
Kelly Dames.
And what's your name?
Rhonda Holt.
What's your name?
Laura Weiland.
Okay, now what is the idea of this thing here?
This is the Dead Cardinals.
Okay, now what do you do with those things though? They look like they're skewers, you know.
Yeah,
Cardinals on a stick. Okay, now what's your little cheer?
Do that Cardinals and spit them out. Us came where we know what it's all about.
What about the 3 tickets part? Okay, they need 3 tickets. I've got another real cute one here. This is Lindsay. Lindsay, let's see Lindsay. I'll make sure they can see her face. How old are you, Lindsay? You're 3. You're 3 years old. What do you got on here? What is this thing that you've got on?
Baseball.
A baseball. Isn't that cute? It's a lot of stuffing around, keeping Lindsay warm tonight, isn't it? Did Mom make this?
Yes.
How long is she going to use this for Halloween too?
Oh, forever.
That's great. She'll remember that for a long time. Lots of folks out here. They are really getting warmed up already. I can't believe the noise that's out here. And believe me, it's going to get a lot noisier in there. Rob, I hope you can hear in there.
Things a little bit more subdued here inside, Dave Dahl and Dan Gladden, Game 7. Can you guys sense that this is it? This is the one game that's going to decide this whole thing?
Well, there's no doubt this is it. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be packing things up, and it's amazing that playing all these ball games, and now it's going to come down to here, the 7th game of the World Series. And as being a player, you really can't ask for anything more than that.
After what happened here yesterday, did you have a hard time getting to sleep last night? And what's this day been like waiting for the moment to happen?
Well, I went home, made a lot of phone calls last night, and received a lot of phone calls. So it's just a lot of people around the country that are saying that the people in Minnesota are really putting a good show on. And one thing everybody's telling me is that it's so exciting to watch a ball game here in Minnesota compared to some of the other ballparks, and especially in St. Louis. And being a player here, I've played in a lot of National League ballparks and seen a lot of fans, and the people here in Minnesota have got to be the best fans around.
The club ready?
I think so. We're up there pretty much relaxed and pretty much geared up. We know McGrain's going to be going tonight, and we knocked him out pretty good in the 3rd or 4th inning last time, so guys are real optimistic and looking forward to it.
Nerves? Do you guys have a few of those yet?
No, and at this point of the game, the nerves, you can't have that bothering you at this time.
All right, good luck tonight. The leading candidate to win the Most Valuable Player Award, Dan Gladden of the Twins. Let's fly it over to the studio in St. Paul, Minneapolis, where Angela and Mark are standing by.
Thank you, Rob. Well, this has been anything but a quiet Sunday across Minnesota. Even at churches, marquees normally reserved for the sermon theme are sporting a new look. Twins fever doesn't stop at the church pew, and inside, parishioners are putting in a few prayers for some divine intervention in Game 7.
I'm not sure if God's going to take sides in this. We can try, but I'm not sure if there'll be any divine intervention. I think it'll have to be Herbeck intervention.
But what Ken Herbeck did last night isn't a miracle. It's plain skill, and we all know he can do it again.
Let's hope. A little more than an hour now to game time. We have much more in this edition of Twins Fever 87 right after this.
Twins Fever 87 is brought to you by Wheaties, the breakfast of champions, by Litton Paper Company, the one and only party store, and by Nord Motor Company.
It's been a long day, big boy. Feel like you still got something left? Sure you do. 'Cause you got one smart mama, and she got you off the ground this morning with a real winner. Howdy ho, it's time to go. 'Cause you don't wear no sugar coat.
At Norton Motors, we don't care. No down payment. We still don't care. Don't make your payment. That's right. Then we care.
Nord Motor Company carries only the best used cars and trucks that are available at low interest, low down payments, and on-the-spot financing.
Let's help each other!
You know, if you ask the Twins, they might say that their play all this season was really no big surprise to them, but others might call it the miracle at the Metrodome. Let's take a look back now at the season that brought them the division title, how the West was won.
I believe with the acquisition of Jeff Reardon, we've just put ourselves in the heat as a bona fide contender for the American League West.
I'm really excited because I really think that the Minnesota Twins are the team to beat this year in the American League West.
Sends it deep. Way back. Goodbye. Way back. Bucket at the wall. Leaps. He made the catch.
Whether it's here or on the road, we just have to still win. That's the name of the game, is win, and I think we're going to do a good job on the road.
The Yankees are always tough, and we beat them 2 out of 3 here, and we're going to their place, and they're going to want to, repay us.
Oh, the game is over. A grand slam home run by
I know it's a long season, and there's no reason to get excited yet. We get excited in September, though.
You knew it was going to happen.
And it breaks out in
They're all over the field now.
They're checking him all over. I've never seen him do a search like this, quite like this before.
And
he's out of there.
He's been kicked out of the game.
And when I got thrown out is when the underboard came on my back pocket. That's when I got thrown out.
Yeah. So you're telling me that you did not doctor the ball that night?
Do I look like a doctor?
Well hit. Way back. Oh, touch 'em all, Kirby Puckett. What a game.
There's no reason to get excited yet. We get excited in September, though.
They're back at second. Bernansky, a big lead at first. And a drive. Hit into deep left field. Way back. And it is gone. A home run.
Oh, that brings tears to your eyes.
Great.
Oh, that is a fabulous piece. And our thanks to our colleagues, Paul Hipp, Dwayne Root, and Denny Diggersell for their hard work on that piece.
And Rob Lear standing by now down near the Twins dugout with Mr. Grand Slam himself, number 14. Rob?
Right you are, Stan. And, one of the script lines that this Twins team has followed all season is that they insist on having fun, and they continue even in Game 7 of a World Series. Ken Herbeck arrived at the ballpark today and was told that the bat boy that he high-fived after coming off that grand slam had actually broken a couple of fingers. You guys like to keep joking it up.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I came walking in the clubhouse, and Clayton, our bat boy, one of our bat boys, has a cast on his wrist and hand and what have you, all over his whole arm, really. And trying to tell me I broke his hand. I said, well, if you can't handle a high five, and you just don't enjoy the celebration like we were.
Is that the mood of the club? You guys loose and trying to block out that this is the 7th game, or what is it like?
It's weird because to me, I haven't got the butterflies at all yet. I mean, I had more butterflies during the opening days. It seems like an event where we're just going to go out there and have fun and try to win a ball game, and that's the way everybody's taking it.
You had a great deal of fun yesterday with that grand slam. Take us back and the pitch and the outcome.
Well, I was going to go up there looking for a fastball. I always do, and I was up there looking for the fastball. He gave it to me and swung hard in case I hit it, and I hit it. And the ball went out of the ballpark, and probably one of the most enjoyable times I've had running around the bases.
Pre-game routine, have you done anything different here today?
Didn't even take ground balls today. Just sit out there and shag a few balls, play a little catch, and go out there and swung the bat. And try to do the same thing I always do.
Everybody dreams about playing in a game like this. Have you had a dream?
I haven't had a real big dream. I've had a couple of hard nights sleeping, so it's hard to dream, but having lots of fun as you can see the people are having here.
All right. Good luck tonight, Ken Herbeck.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
All right, let's go back to Stan and Root.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you, Mr. Herbeck. Good luck again tonight, pal. Got that big bat booming, huh? Next up here on Twins Fever 87, we're going to take a sounding, really, on one of the most important factors the Twins have going for them in this dome. Say it's too loud in the dome, the loudest thunder they can't hear. Know what we say?
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
That's right, Tina. The Thunderdome, Minnesota style. It's been able to undo Tigers and undo Cardinals, and part of the reason why, it is loud, folks. It really is a Thunderdome. We can prove it. My ears were still ringing when I went to sleep last night.
Yeah, and I was one of the loudest ones screaming right next to you. That's why his ears were ringing.
Said that.
Yeah, we took a decibel meter out here last week, and then ABC TV did the same thing last night. And guess what? After registering about 110 decibels on Don Baylor's home run, the thing broke when Ken Herbeck hit his grand slam. And I guess there's just no meter that can show how much Minnesota is behind those Twins.
The eardrum demolition derby. And the signs of that support really are everywhere. It was like thousands of tiny ripples in a sea of white last night looking at all the Homer Hankies in those stands.
And after the game, they were everywhere out on the street. People were walking through downtown, waving those Hankies, cheering the Twins on. By 10 o'clock, Hennepin Avenue was still jammed with cars. Everybody was honking their horns, and that party went on for hours.
And we know the Twins, amidst all of that hoopla, are very single-minded right now. Obviously, all they can think about doing is capping off this series with a really big win tonight, folks. That's right. Okay?
Let's go to Mark Curtis right now, who's down on the field to tell us more about that. Mark?
Thanks very much, Ruth. I'm standing here, the short guy in the group again. There's Mud and Jeff and Open Mike over here. Can you guys kneel down a little bit for this thing? You've been loosey-goosey all year long. You came back from the trip to St. Louis, and you were riding around the conveyor belt. That was after 3 straight losses. You've been in this position before in Pittsburgh. Is this any different?
Well, no, not really. We went to Pittsburgh actually down 3 games, and we had to win the last one, and we did. I feel it.
But I mean, as far as what this would mean to the city, Pittsburgh is title town. They have a great tradition. This would be a first for Minneapolis, and it would do wonderful things.
You know, just the way the fans have reacted. I see somebody up here all painted up with, you know, a TC on his face right here. And just the town has been outstanding. And what I've heard so far is the way that the people have treated the St. Louis fans. They've just treated them really special. And we're going to beat them, and we're going to laugh in their face.
Bert, do you think the players on the team really realize the magnitude of the game tonight and what they're doing?
You really learned
like
some
that,
big
man?
words.
I looked that up. I saw it in the paper today.
Oh, did you? Yeah. What does that mean, magnitude?
I think it means big. I'm not sure. Like, I'm a magnitude type person. No, really. Do you think they really realize that how big a game this really is?
I think we do. I think, you know, this is for the marbles. This is what you play 162 games for, and this is something that a dream is made for. And what we have to do is just go out there and hope the breaks go our way early and give Frank a little bit of a cushion so he can relax a little bit.
Any truth to rumor that if you guys win tonight, you're going to shave the beard?
No, I'm going to shave something else, but not my beard.
Bert Blyleven, let's go back upstairs to standing room. Get out of here.
Oliver's learning those big words together.
This one's for the
Okay.
marbles, he
That's
said.
right.
This is the Steelies.
Right, and on a very serious note here, we want to thank all of you who have joined in our pledges to Minnesota charities. It's been going very, very well. As of right now, the total stands at nearly $160,000. $25,000 of that comes from Kent Herbeck's Grand Slam last night. KSTP Television, FM, and AM radio have pledged $25,000 per Grand Slam, $2,000 for every Twins run. If you want to pledge, there's still time. Call 646-0705 if you want to pledge. Hope you do.
Boy, you know what? I feel like a little kid on Christmas Eve, waiting. You may feel that way, too. Don't go away. Twins Fever 87 is going to return in just a moment. And we want to say a big hello to all the folks watching on WDIO in Duluth. Hi, everybody, and the Twins are going to win tonight.
There'll be nobody on Superior Street tonight. They're going to be watching this game. Hi,
right.
everybody. Well, our good buddy Joe Schmidt standing by now in this dome with one of the stars of the Twins of '65 in their World Series appearance. Joe?
That's right, Stan. One of the all-timers of the Twins, Bob Allison. I guess once a Twin, always a Twin. And, Bob, you've been through the 7th game before, back in 1965. The Twins here seem to be so loose. Are they holding it back underneath? Are they nervous?
They're holding it back, but they are loose. I was here early today, and they were out here in the outfield playing their practical jokes on each other and laughing a little bit and doing their stretching exercises. And they're a little bit tense, too. You know, and so's the other side as far as that goes. I like our chances better being here in the dome than I like the other side over there because they may have a lot of problems before the night's over.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for many of these ball players. I know you probably relived that 7th game from '65 a few times over.
Yes, I have, and we should have been in the '67 World Series. I still believe that, but we didn't. We lost 2 games in Boston on the last 2 days of the season. We had to win 1, but we didn't. But, yeah, we always look forward, when you're a professional baseball player, you look forward to the World Series. You always want to be in that World Series.
What is your gut feeling about Game 7 here tonight?
My gut feeling is the Twins are going to win. I think Viola's going to come out strong. He didn't pitch too many innings the other day down in St. Louis, so I think he's going to be ready to go.
And Bert Blyleven, of course, will probably be ready to back him up, too. You think he's ready to go?
I imagine Bert will be right in there, right behind him, but it needs to be.
All right, Bob Allison, thanks so much, and thanks for stopping by.
You bet.
All right, Bob Allison, one of the all-time greats for the Minnesota Twins. Now over to Mark Curtis.
Thanks very much, Joe. Now let's take another look at what happened out here yesterday. You all know the story by now. I think all of us are left with some memories of Game 6 that will last a lifetime. That's how good this game was. We'll show you the play of the game right after this.
The play of the game is brought to you by Juster's XL Shops.
The average successful businessman knows the importance of being well-dressed. And for him, Juster's has always offered a wide selection of quality suits, coats, and accessories. But recently, it's come to our attention that some successful businessmen are not average. Introducing Juster's XL Shops, clothes for the above average. Southdale and Nicollet Mall.
Of all the games we've had, picking a play of the game from Game 6 was the toughest decision of all. So tonight, for the first time ever, we've got 2 plays of the game to show you. First of all, how about Don Baylor in the 5th inning of the game last night? Twins down by 2. Baylor waited on a changeup from John Tudor and gave it a ride, a 400-foot home run into the left field seats. Baylor's first homer as a Twin to tie the game at 5 apiece. You know, with the long balls yesterday, Steve Lombardozzi got lost in the shuffle, but let's not forget, Lombo had the game-winning RBI. He got his 3rd hit of the game in the bottom of the 5th. Tom Bernansky scored on a close play at the plate, and the Twins had the lead for good. Now to the icing on the cake, and I'm sure you can watch this one over and over again. Of course, it's the grand slam by Ken Hrbek. And don't you just love his reaction? Herbie could have been the GOAT yesterday. Instead, he gets the hit of a lifetime. What better moment than a grand slam in the World Series, and the Twins now have him up, even up. There you have it, our plays of the game from game number 6. Standing by once again with Mike Smithson. And if you were to pick an MVP right now, Mike, who would you go with?
Well, I think you'd have to probably, my first pick would be a Dan Gladden. He's the only player on either team who's got a hit in every ball game. He got some big hits. I thought his leadoff triple last night was a big blow for us. It got us right back in position to tie the game up again. You can't forget a Gary Gadd. He's just played a great series. He's been an emotional leader. It's going to be a toss-up between those two. It's going to be hard to pick.
There have been so many heroes throughout this series, especially in the games at home. I would think one of the keys tonight, Mike, would be for the Twins to score some runs early, because Cards are not a good comeback team.
No, they're not. And I think, like I said before, forget this crowd in this ball game once again. I just feel like the Cardinals it's going to give them some problems like it did last night. There's no doubt about it. You know, I can remember 82, we came in here and there's 2,000 fans. You never heard anybody say a bad thing about the Dome, because people wanted to come in here and play us because they beat us up. Now you got to give credit to the Twins organization, credit to the Twins players. We've turned it around, and now we've got another factor, the fans, and now nobody wants to come in here and play us.
All right, Mike, thanks a lot. We'll come back down here with some final reactions in a few minutes, but right now, let's go back upstairs to Stan and Ruth.
Thank you, Mark and Smitty. Very good there. Well, anyway you cut it, tonight is the night. It's the last game of the 1987 baseball season.
Sure.
It's been a long one, but a great one, hasn't it? Okay. Pat Milan is standing by live right now with some reasons why, in our area, this is the ultimate season to remember. Pat?
Stan and Ruth, the playoffs and the World Series have combined to make this an October to remember, and it seems that every fan has a special moment.
Probably Hrbek's grand slam. Most definitely. The guy was struggling at the plate. He came up, big hit, new pitcher, first pitch, see you later, gone.
Bases loaded, 2 out, bottom of the 6th, Twins lead by 1. And Hrbek hits a high drive to deep center field. Mickey goes back, grand slam!
I guess I go back to the playoffs and remembering to pick off the Evans.
He could use the strikeout here. Hide at the corners. Throw to third. Oh, a big on Evans. Oh, and it doesn't happen often to an experienced base runner like Darryl.
Lautner to Gaetti. You can see Gaetti's moving almost before the ball left his hand. It was close, but I believe he just nipped it.
I think that was the turning point of the whole works. They would have gone no further without that play as far as I'm concerned. So I'm sure he remembers it well, too.
Well, there were so many great. Well, I guess the 2 grand slams. People went crazy.
High in the air to deep left field. Coleman goes back. A grand slam.
And at my age, I'll remember it forever. Maybe a 10-year-old will forget it in a year, but that's something I'll always remember.
Memories are what this is all about, and for those of you who are taking part of it, please remember to take a good look around, because we may never see this again. Let's go to Mark Curtis now, inside the Dome. Mark?
Thanks very much, Pat. We're standing by with Terry Pendleton of the St. Louis Cardinals, and what has Whitey said to you guys heading into this Game 7?
Nothing. Not a thing. We all know what we have to do. You know, we got to win a ball game. You know, the Twins have to do the same thing. There's not much you can say. You know, you've got to go between lines and do it.
You know, for the people that cover this team on a regular basis, I don't think that we can fully understand how tough this might be to play in, this Metrodome. How tough is it?
Well, to be honest with you, it doesn't bother me at all. You know, the noise here, I love to hear the noise here. You know, the thing that bothers me the most is being able to see the ball here. I have a tough time seeing the baseball up. You know, my teammates feel the same way. And, you know, usually on the outfield, the outfielders can see a ball, run back, and get to the spot and get to it. You can't do that here because they have a rough time picking it up. The fans don't bother me at all here.
You've been a little bit hampered in this series. Jack Clark is out. That's obviously had a big effect on this team.
Well, I think so. You know, Jack adds a big boom to our club. Guy in the middle lineup, I think it makes it a lot easier on the men in front of him and behind him to hit because of the fact that they're worried about pitching to him. You know, myself, I've been able to play a little bit, but not as much as I wanted to. But, you know, you look at our stats along the season, and you have to say we make a difference.
You've had an interesting perspective watching a lot of the game from the bench as the DH coming in from time to time. What do you see the Twins doing right out here, and what specifically do you think you guys need to do to beat them tonight?
Well, the bottom line here for both teams is pitching, I think. You know, we've got to get better pitching. Our pitching last night wasn't good at all. You know, they came out and Stricker got in trouble, but they had the bullpen come in and do an excellent job. We didn't get that. You know, we've got to keep the Minnesota Twins from having big innings. And that's how they've beaten us here all 3 times. They've had big innings. And I think that's something that, you know, we normally don't have. We got in St. Louis and had 1 big inning, and, you know, we usually come out and 1 run you, 2 run you, maybe 3 run you, but we usually have the small innings, but we keep the ball in the ballpark and give our defense a chance to play, and we haven't done that here.
All right, Terry, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Terry Pendleton, back upstairs now to Stan and Ruth.
Thank you, Mark. And Terry's said that Whitey told them nothing. 0.
Nothing.
Right?
Nothing.
That's it.
You know, one of our favorite memories comes from the playoff with those Tigers. You're going to see that after a quick cut from last night's game and a short break. Stay tuned.
Little chopper off the plate. Going to be tough for Ozzie. Leap throws. No. Not even on.
It was a great car radio, and you Twin Cities morning shows made me trash it. I tried the Old Neighbor and got farm reports and recipes, so I punched the button, and it's yippee and skippy. So I punched the button to Tom and Dan on 92 KQRS. They're regular guys who don't insult my intelligence. They do sports, the call of the day, and play great rock and roll. So punch in Tom and Dan on KQ and stop punching.
Tom and Dan, weekday mornings on 92 KQRS.
Back when Minnesota beat Detroit for the American League pennant, Jeff Reardon showed the nation why we call him the Terminator. His success fit perfectly with a Michael Johnson song. Here's what happens when you put it all together.
2 men on, 2 men down. Not a friendly face in this baseball town. I gotta make this fool swing. Gotta cut him down, or it's back to the farm. Might as well throw away my arm this time. And it's 1 strike. Caught him looking, and it's 2 strikes. Oh, now I'm cooking. Here's my hard one. As he swings, I see his eyes. Another boy with diamond dreams like mine. When the crowd's on its feet, how I live for this moment, the bitter and the sweet. Caught him looking. My hard one, as he swings like his eyes. Another boy with diamond dreams like mine.
From a memorable moment in the League Championship Series to a live shot of Jeff Reardon as we await Game 7 of the World Series and that ultimate challenge that we just saw in that video. That is the job of a reliever when it comes down to you and that hitter, and you've been successful this postseason.
Yeah, that's what everybody hopes for, you know, when you're in the bullpen, and you got to go right after the hitters, and hopefully we'll have the same kind of celebration tonight that we did in that film.
How rested are you going into this 7th game? I know that Tom Kelly hasn't had to overuse anybody down there.
No, he hasn't. I'm well rested. I only pitched 1 inning last night, and you know, I'll go as long as he wants me to go, and go as hard as I can for as long as I can.
You guys go into this thing realizing that this is it? Have you had a tough time coming to grips that this is for the World Championship, whatever happens here the next couple, 3 hours?
The clubhouse really isn't much different than it has been all year. You know, it seems like another game. It's exciting that it's the 7th game of the World Series, but you don't really hear anybody saying that, you know, this is it.
Best of luck to you tonight and your teammates. Jeff Reardon, thanks for taking this time. Let's now rejoin Stan and Ruth.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. I like the way he brings up the rear in the last inning.
I can't wait till after tonight's win to see Reardon and Tom Kelly show some real emotion.
Yeah,
huh?
I always wonder what Tom Kelly does when he shows emotion. I don't know. For more than 2 weeks now, of course, the national spotlight has been shining its light on the Twin Cities. And to talk to some of the out-of-towners, it sounds like so far we've made a very good impression. Mike Binkley is live in the stands right now to tell us about some of the visiting media that he talked with. Mike?
Right, Ruth. You know, the World Series has given us a lot of reasons to be proud. First of all, of course, the fact that the home team has done so well. But secondly, the crowds in the Metrodome have been some of the most enthusiastic the series has ever seen. And the Twin Cities have been good hosts at the same time.
I like it here. I think the city's really pretty, and the people are really nice, and they're good baseball fans.
I like it here. Where have we heard that phrase before? It's taken just a few days for these people in their satellite trucks to discover the qualities that folks here have bragged about for ages. ABC has covered many World Series before.
This rate's about as high as we've come. I don't want to mention other cities, I get myself in trouble, but it's been wonderful to work here. It really has.
They sound sincere about that, and others will name names.
Detroit in '84 and San Diego, just blah. '83 Philadelphia and Baltimore, both cities were nothing exceptional. These two stand out, I would think, only because they're a lot friendlier people.
And a lot louder people.
I haven't seen it like this ever. I've been to 3 World Series, and this is about as lively a crowd as I've seen.
The hospitality, they said, spread to visitors whether they were from New York, L.A., or even St. Louis.
Even when they found out we were from St. Louis, yeah. Little harassment, but we give it right back.
Had you ever been to the Twin Cities before?
No, it's my first time.
Would you want to come back?
I'd love to come here and get a job at KSTP.
So that's why they were saying such nice things. No, seriously, everybody we talked to along Media Row had some very nice things to say about the Twin Cities, and that's a real tribute to the people of this area. Stan and Ruth?
That guy from St. Louis has good taste, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Hired, Jeff. You're hired. All right. This will not surprise you, but it's no easy matter getting tickets for tonight's really big game, the deciding game of the World Series, but people are still trying. We'll explore that in just a moment on Twins Fever 87. Back live at the Dome, and Game 7, of course, continues to be the hottest ticket in town. Even though Minneapolis Police Department are continuing their crackdown on scalpers, there are still plenty of people who are mighty interested in buying or selling tickets at inflated prices. Kevin Berger joins us live now from downtown Minneapolis with more on this. Kevin?
Good evening, Stan and Ruth. I'm out in front of Jukebox Saturday night. A lot of people have just gone inside there throughout the evening. They're going to watch the game in there because there are no tickets available. I can't tell you how many people have asked me if I've got tickets, but of course, obviously I did. I wouldn't be standing here. There are far more people who want to go to the game than there are tickets available. So starting early today, baseball fans gathered near the Dome seeking those scarce tickets. They waved their signs at passersby in hopes of nailing down Dome seats, and we found people prepared to pay dearly to watch this crucial Game 7. How much are you willing to pay?
$100 a ticket. If anybody's out there who wants to sell one.
How much are people suggesting that you should pay?
About $2.25 a piece.
I would go up to $100 a ticket.
And what do people say when you make that as your bid?
They just kind of turn away and walk away.
They don't think that's enough.
They're not interested in that.
How much are you willing to pay?
$75.
You think you're going to get a ticket?
Yeah, it's looking rough right now.
I've heard people offer $100, $150. There's a lot of different prices. Of course, one guy who was waiting with me and somebody else over at Gate H did manage to get a couple of tickets for $45 a piece, so I know it can be done.
Don't know what you said, Kevin.
She said, go Twins.
Oh, okay, whatever it was.
Taking her home or hanky there. That's fabulous. Mark Curtis is down on the field once more to tell us what the police are planning for tonight. Mark?
Thanks very much, Ruth. We're standing by with Paul Tate, who's one of the security supervisors here at the Dome, and I know the players are tense, but you guys have to be pretty tense, too, because you know it's going to be just a zoo if they win this thing.
Well, we're going to have a lot of people here, and it's already started already outside. The fans are screaming and yelling, and hopefully that'll carry on in here. We'll go from there. We'll take it from our end.
Paul, we've seen pictures over the years at Yankee Stadium with the crowd streaming onto the field in Detroit. What do you plan to do to keep these people off the field tonight?
Well, we've got a few problem areas that we have to look at heavily. One of them is lower left field along third baseline. We think we've got it covered. We've added 30 to 40 more Minneapolis police. We've added 40 more Hennepin County deputies that will be on the field and in the stands. We don't think we're going to have a problem.
And if anybody does decide to get rowdy, what's the plan?
Well, if they try and get rowdy, if they want to come on the field, it's going to cost them a fine and a night in jail, and we'll be more than happy to arrest them. We'd rather not, but if they want to come on the field, that's their decision, and they'll take it from there with an arrest and a conviction.
All right, Paul, thanks for joining us. Paul Tate, head of security, back upstairs to Stan and Ruth.
All right. Thank you, Mark. You know, one thing that the Twins fans have not been able to control is their emotions inside the Metrodome, and there may be no more touching moment in all of this than that night 2 weeks ago tomorrow when 55,000 fans waited until 11 o'clock. They waited to welcome their Twins home.
I've missed each and every face. Come on and play money easy. Let's turn on every love light in the place. It's time I found myself totally surrounded in your circles. Oh, my friends, we celebrate me home. Give me a number, please. Celebrate me home. Give me one.
Oh, my heart is in my throat when I see those kind of things. Next, we're going to have some final thoughts.
Right, and as the Rosemont High School band starts to rev up this crowd, there they are. Stay with us for Twins Fever 87.
Popped up. Lodner coming over, and the Twins send it to 7.
Welcome back to the Metrodome as we continue to count down the final minutes before Game 7. And Mike Smithson, you said you saw Frankie Viola in the clubhouse just moments ago. This is the biggest game of his life.
Well, that's true. You know, a lot of pitchers prepare mentally in different ways. Usually Frank's pretty much, easy-going type of guy. I talked to you. I went up and I was in the clubhouse before the game, and it was like he was locked in his own little world. I think he's going to pitch the game of his life in the biggest game that he's ever been in.
All right, a couple of lineup changes for the Cardinals. Pena will DH tonight, and we're going to see the guy that really hurt the Twins, Lawless, at third tonight. Gary Gaetti might have a few choice words for him.
Well, that's a surprising little lineup switch. I'm sure Whitey's just trying to get as much punch as he can in the lineup. They're not scoring very many runs, and I guess he's just trying to do something to shake them up a little bit.
Whitey figures at this point he has nothing to lose. Obviously, TK knows that he's in the driver's seat. The guys do. One game at a time, tonight's the night.
Well, if you're going to do it one game at a time, there's only one game left, and I just got to feel that the Twins are ready to play. I know I've got goosebumps right now, and I'm sure everybody up in that clubhouse is just ready to get on the field and get it going.
Okay, you're going to have to change sweaters because you got to get in your uniform and keep that on because we don't want to see this ruined with champagne after the game.
Super.
We will see you right after the game with our post-game coverage. Right now, let's go back to the studio with Mark and Angela.
Okay, Mark said he's not wearing his best tie tonight. He knows that champagne's going to hit him. Following Game 7 of the World Series, we'll have a special post-game report. That will include live interviews with the players and the fans.
We'll follow all the hoopla wherever it takes us and capture the mood of Minnesota when this World Series 1987 is finally decided. It could be a celebration unlike the Twin Cities have ever seen before. Now back again to where all the action is taking place. Stan and Ruth.
Thank you very much, Angela and Mark. We are, as you are, ready for the game of our lives.
You know, I was thinking this morning, this is like Christmas, the 4th of July in Disneyland, all rolled into one. And I predict that tonight we're going to switcheroo the old adage and we're going to show that nice guys finish first.
That's a very good point. These guys are nice guys. They're genuinely sincere. As we listen and see the Rosemont band, they're sincere about the fan appreciation. They really do thank the fans for helping them along here. It's made a big difference. Now the big bats are booming. This is going to be a game. We'll see you after the game. Stand
See you
by
then.
now for World Series coverage.
Wins, wins.
Well, I knew something was up when they dressed me like this for my show tonight. Spencer, Dolly, and Buck James will not be on because of the big game. Take it away, boys.
ABC Sports and the Olympics, a long-standing partnership. Again, at the Winter Games of Calgary, the Olympic tradition continues.
The Minnesota Twins' victory in Game 6 was filled with images that will linger. John Tudor struggling to hang on to a 5-3 lead. Before Don Baylor tied the score in the 5th inning. The base hit by Steve Lombardozzi. And Tom Brunansky's rolling slide for the tie-breaking run. But the image that will linger longest is that one Ken Daly pitch, which Kent Herbeck deposited into the thundering throng. Which leads us to Game 7 at the Metrodome. ABC Sports presents the National League champion St. Louis Cardinals against the American League champion Minnesota Twins in Game 7 of the 1987 World Series. And in Minneapolis tonight, it is 46 degrees outside the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, and inside a comfortable 70. Warm and larynxes willing, very loud once again as the baseball season comes to an end, one way or another. I'm Al Michaels. Welcome to Game 7 and a milestone of sorts. This is the 500th game in the history of the World Series. You know, baseball is different than football, basketball, and hockey in that you should not have that big a home field advantage, but don't tell that to Whitey Herzog. The Minnesota Twins had the best record in baseball during the regular season at home. They won their 2 playoff games at home, and in the World Series, they've won 3 from the Cardinals at home, and they've scored 29 runs in the process. And tonight, they send one of the 2 aces of their staff to the mound in Frank Viola against the St. Louis Cardinals, who tonight start a rookie left-hander, Joe McGrain, and the entire Cardinal lineup with a cumulative total of 32 home runs for the entire year, the same amount of home runs Tom Brunansky hit for the Minnesota Twins alone. But don't sell the Cardinals short. After all, they have gotten to the 7th game of the World Series. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Aetna and its insurance agents and brokers across America. Work with the best in the business, Aetna. By Budweiser, Beachwood Aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by American Airlines. Something special in the air.
You realize the importance of Game 7, and to win that game, this is the World's Championship, because there are so many players in the history of baseball never come close to winning a World's Championship ring.
As far as the 2 managers are concerned, one will have a nice big diamond in his ring. The other will have a slightly smaller gem, dependent upon the outcome of tonight's 7th game. Tom Kelly of the Minnesota Twins, Whitey Herzog of the St. Louis Cardinals. I talked with both earlier. First, Kelly talks about last night.
Well, I had a rough night of sleeping. Wake up, think about things, and go back to sleep, and I think that happened 3 times, and the clock is moving very slow. And I think when the game gets started, though, we'll be in good shape. If Frankie pitches good, we'll have a good chance. If things get a little shaky, well, then it's going to be a struggle. But pitching's the name of the game, and if we can go and pitch good, we'll have a good chance.
Well, basically, Al, it's no secret to anybody. They've just been an outstanding ball club in this ballpark, and we haven't been able to get them out. They've got 29 runs in 3 ball games against us. It's the same guys that pitched in St. Louis that pitched here, and we got them out on a lot of breaking balls, a lot of change-ups down there, and they come up here and they hit everything we throw. I don't know what the deal is, but they got an awful lot of confidence playing in this ballpark. They got a lot of fan enthusiasm, and if we're going to have a chance to win this ball game, we've got to hold them down. I mean, every night we've been going by the 4th or 5th inning.
They are warming up at the Metrodome. More than 55,000 will look on for Game 7. And the pitching matchup, the rookie McGrain, the veteran Viola. We're just minutes away from the start of Game 7, and let's join the public address announcer at the Metrodome, Bob Casey.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored tonight to have the Joint Service Color Guard representing the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force, presenting the colors for the final game of this 1987 World Series. And now please welcome a talented family of young musicians originally hailing from the tropical island of Tonga in the South Pacific. Now making their home here in Minnesota, they have become international recording stars. with several hit songs to their credit. Please give a very warm Minnesota welcome to the Jets as they honor America in the singing of our national anthem.
Can you see by the thunder the night what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, upon bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of
We'll come back to Game 7 of the 1987 World Series after this message from Major League Baseball and a word from your local station. Here comes the throw to the plate. Changes tag is not in time. McGee hits one deep to right and down the line into the corner and off the wall. McGee has a double.
ABC Sports and Major League Baseball present the official 1987 World Series highlight video cassette. All the dramatic moments, exclusive interviews, and special camera coverage. Send $19.98 by check, pay $3 for postage and handling, or use Visa or MasterCard. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
The preceding announcement was sponsored by Major League Baseball.
Wow, Jay, some guys are sure in a hurry to get to the airport. Guess he doesn't know about Hertz' new instant return. With Hertz, you don't have to rush to return your car, because now Hertz gives you your receipt right at your car.
So you have everything you need to do your expense report.
I'll have your receipt right away.
It's too bad he didn't know about Hertz instant return.
Now at Hertz, you can rent a T-Bird for just $39.90 a day, or a Lincoln Town Car for just $44.90.
ABC Sports presents the National League champion St. Louis Cardinals against the American League champion Minnesota Twins in Game 7 of the 1987 World Series. And this ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Aetna and its insurance agents and brokers across America. Work with the best in the business, Aetna. By IBM. And by Chevrolet, the official car and truck of Major League Baseball. The 1987 baseball season concludes tonight. The 7th game of the World Series under the dome in Minneapolis. The St. Louis Cardinals against the Minnesota Twins. It's McGrain against Viola. I'm Al Michaels, and isn't this the way it should be? You start at the end of February, and you finish it on the 25th of October, one game for the championship. This is the 84th World Series. This is the 31st time it has gone to a 7th game, and for what it's worth, 17 of the prior 30 have been won by the visiting teams. No World Series has ever gone the route with the home team winning every game, and certainly the Twins hope to accomplish that tonight. Tim McCarver, you're a man who played in 3 7th games with the Cardinals in 64 and 67 and 68, and certainly the St. Louis Cardinals are no strangers to 7th games.
Well, I should say not. As a matter of fact, the last 7 World Series in which the Cardinals have participated dated back to 1946. All 7 series have gone to 7 games. The odds on that, 3,400 to 1. And speaking of odds, what are the odds on a rookie starting the 7th game of the World Series? Well, in the 10 series that the Cardinals have played 7 games, no rookie has ever started, and tonight it'll be Joe McGrain, the left-hander, on the mound. Joe with an 11-9 record this year. And I don't really believe that it's going to be a problem physically from a grain tonight. I believe that facing from a mental standpoint, the intense heat that the crowd can put on young players, especially here in the Metrodome, is going to be the major problem.
And if he falters early on 2 days rest, it would be Danny Cox in long relief. Well, Tim played in 3 seventh games. Jim Palmer has been a part of a couple of teams, Baltimore, that went to a 7th game on 2 occasions. What's the mood like in the clubhouse before a 7th game?
Well, what's so interesting is about the 2 World Series that I didn't play in, but I watched, which was 1971 and 1979. We were poised to win. We had the right people out there, and we were always thwarted by 1 or 2 players. 1971, Steve Blass beat us 2-1. Roberto Clemente with great hitting. And then in 1979, Scotty McGregor on the mound for the Orioles, Willie Stargell with a home run to beat us. And if you go back to 1965 with the Twins here in Minneapolis, Sandy Koufax on 2 days rest comes out of nowhere to shut him out with 10 strikeouts, 2-0. But the most interesting thing about baseball to me as a former player is when I go back and think about a baseball season, exhibition games, about 30 of them, 162 games that you trudge through, then you battle through a playoff, then you get to a World Series and you find yourself all of a sudden in a 7th game. You know what to do to win, but only one team can win.
Put your feet up and settle back. It's a magical phrase in itself. The 7th game of the World Series.